My House of Horrors chapter 851 to 860. What I'm worried about is not the mistake in your perception but something else. Chen Ge could not explain the actual situation to the students, so he could only think about it himself. How did I get infected by Chang Wenyu's presence? Is it because I've spent a lot of time with her brother? Or did Chang Ji place one of Chang Wenyu's belongings on me? Don't panic. You'll find the lost memory one day. I have confidence in you. Zhou Tu did not understand Chen Ge's situation, but he was still optimistic. Don't waste your energy on unimportant things. What I'm about to say is very important to you. Every student that enters the school has their own choice, and different choices lead to different results. The judgment does not lie in the painter's hands but the school's consciousness. The monster that has merged all the despairing souls is the real owner of this school, and the painter is at most a spokesperson. What we need to do is gain the school's approval, follow one of the choices to the end, and face the final result. Zhou Tu thought about it. The painter's choice is probably to escape from reality and create a home for all the lost souls behind the door. Chang Wenyu's choice should be to find a way to leave the school and return to reality. We can follow the path that Chang Wenyu left behind, but the prerequisite is to gain the school's approval. How should we do that? Don't treat this school as a cold scenario. Treat it as a person who has been bullied and filled with despair. When Zhou Tu said that, he lowered his voice to the lowest level. His expression was strange, and with every sentence, his face would darken like he would be cursed if he said that at the school. To gain the school's approval, we have to resonate with it. For example, like the painter, he created a home to soothe the loneliness inside the school's consciousness, to give him a place to stay. Or like Chang Wenyu, he can choose to escape. I understand what you mean, but from how I see it, whether it's escaping or creating a new home, it won't solve the problem from the root. Chen Ge had his own idea. What I'm doing might not be right, but if I'm bullied, I will use the most direct method to return the favor. What are you going to do? Chang Wenyu and the painter have already provided us with 2 shortcuts. We just need to follow them. Zhou Tu frowned slightly. He could see flames burning in Chen Ge's eyes. That kind of gaze was rare in this gloomy campus. No one is willing to be bullied. As long as there is a chance to retaliate, they will definitely grab it. Chen Ge stood at the edge of the thicket and looked out at the large campus. The nature of this world is still the survival of the fittest. The weak like to follow the strong or attach themselves to the strong. And if the strong want to show their strength, the best way is to control the weak and show their authority on the weak. These things are very childish, but they are also very realistic. Since we've appeared on this campus, we'll just follow the rules. Rules? The school's consciousness is made up of the souls of those who have been bullied. There is another way to gain their recognition. Chen Ge strode out from the thicket. Reposition ourselves. Let's go bully those who like to bully. Chen Ge's mind jumped so much that the members were shocked when they heard what he said. Are you sure you want to do that? Fighting them head-on might not only fail to resonate with the school, it might even remind them of their once weak and hopeless selves and make them hostile toward us. Humans are a strange kind of life. Only when they are in pain will they know how painful something is. My choice is not the best choice, but it is the choice that I like the most. After waiting for a long time, there was no reply. Chen Ge turned to look at the members. Why are you looking at me like that? What you said earlier is different from how you usually act. Zhangju opened his mouth. I mean, those words don't sound like something a teacher would say. Looks like you still don't know me well enough. Chen Ge smiled and placed his hand on Zhangju's shoulder. Most people have a devil and an angel living in their heart. Whenever they are about to do something, the devil and angel will get into a heated argument. It will make them hesitate and doubt themselves, but I'm different. Are you trying to say that the only thing left in your heart is the devil? Zhangju's ugly eyes stared at Chen Ge. He tried to find the answer from Chen Ge's expression. It's the opposite. The devil in my heart has been locked behind the door, and only the angel is with me. She will always support me. No matter what decision I make, she will stand behind me. I'm guessing, your angel's hands must be covered in blood, and she's wearing a red outfit. Zhou Tu chuckled. He seemed to have misunderstood something. I'm too lazy to explain it to you. You only need to know that I have my own standards, and everything I do is done with a clear conscience. Chen Ge stood in the middle of the members. It's time to go. We'll go to the 2nd floor of the library. The mirror left behind by Chang Wenyu should be hiding another answer. That's right. Your instinct is very accurate. We really can't stay here for too long. Zhou Tu leaned on Zhang Ju's back. The mirror is the real world behind the door. This place was built by the painter. It is a home he built for the homeless children. Of course, it can also be described as a cage. Zhou Tu's physical condition worsened. His body started to fade like it could dissipate at any moment. We'll talk about the rest after we find the mirror. Let's go. Chen Ge had a feeling that Zhou Tu's soul had already dissipated. The thing that was leaning on Zhang Ju was just a lingering spirit. When he revealed everything in his memory, it would be the time he completely disappeared. There would be no more Zhou Tu in this world, and there would be no trace left. Zhou Tu was sandwiched between the painter and Chang Wenyu, so he was probably one of the battlefields between the two. From the result, the painter had won. He had destroyed Zhou Tu, but Chang Wenyu had not lost. After all, she had spread information about the painter through Zhou Tu. No one in the school of the afterlife is easy to deal with, but this is good. The murkier the water, the higher my chance. Chen Ge led the members to the library. They moved carefully through the trees and realized that all the doors in the buildings on both sides were open, like people were coming in and out. The school of the afterlife was different from before. The people hiding in the dark all showed up like they knew their chance had come. Mr. Bai, do you mind if I ask something? The woman who left her presents on you, did she give you any hint? Zhou Tu's face was pale, and he needed to rest after every sentence. I don't know Chang Wenyu at all, and I have no idea how she left her presents on me. Chen Ge did not want to continue this topic. He hurried toward the library. Keeping it a secret from us? Zhou Tu was carried by Zhang Ju, and his body was slowly disappearing. It would be hard for him to even make it to the library. I don't care what you think. Chen Ge continued to move forward, but after a few steps, he suddenly frowned. He really did not know Chang Wenyu, and he did not want to hide anything, but Zhou Tu made it sound like Chen Ge was purposely hiding something. Zhou Tu had been leaking information to Chen Ge. This was the first time he had asked, and the first question was related to Chang Wenyu. This was normal for others, and Chen Ge did not think much of it initially, but the more he thought about it, the stranger he felt. Coincidences meet coincidences, and in the end, it became an accident. Although the whole process seemed fine, I still feel that something is not quite right. Chen Ge thought to himself, Zhou Tu has many secrets, but from the looks of it, he doesn't have the time to reveal them. The painter was the culprit who harmed him. If he really hated the painter, he would have revealed everything related to the painter instead of asking questions. Perhaps it was just an accident, but Chen Ge had to pay more attention to it. The library was close to the office. Chen Ge's group walked through the bushes to the entrance of the library. I've been here before. The front door is always locked. The only way to get in is through the side door or through the window. Damn it. I'm reminded of that horrible memory again. Zhang Ju had a bad impression of Chang Wenyu. After all, it was Chang Wenyu who had betrayed him and shattered his only hope. With Zhang Ju leading the way, the group easily pried open the side door of the library and entered. The library on the eastern campus looked very old. The building looked like it was just a decoration. Neither the students nor the teachers would come here. It feels like a long time has passed, but not much has changed. It is as if she dug out my left eye yesterday. Zhang Ju walked at the front. His shirt was already dyed red. I once walked this path with her. Technically speaking, she was my first love. This is where we dated. With a bitter smile on his face, Zhang Ju's finger swiped across the bookshelf next to him. Why would I choose to have a date in the library at midnight? I should have known that she never liked me. She was just using me. That's not necessarily true. The venue doesn't mean anything. Chen Ge and Zhang Ju walked side by side. She's been there. I've been to an abandoned school, a mental hospital, an underground morgue, and so on. She still loves me. The person you dated was also Chang Wenyu? Zhou Tu's eyes were confused. He did not finish the sentence, but his eyes moved between Chen Ge and Zhang Ju. Other than her, I can't think of anyone else who would come to a place like this for a date. It was nothing, but when Zhou Tu said that, Zhang Ju stopped moving. He looked at Chen Ge up and down and then shook his head. Impossible. That woman doesn't have the ability or emotion of love, she's a monster. Feeling agitated, Zhang Ju took a few steps forward alone. The library was very quiet at night. One could only hear the footsteps and heartbeats of others. The whole building was sealed, and the doors and windows were closed, but there was no smell. This was different from the outside. Go through this row of bookshelves, climb to the top, and step on the railing. That way, we won't need to use the stairs to get to the second floor. Zhangju's memory of that night was still fresh. He did not forget any of the details, and they were etched in his mind. Why didn't we take the stairs? Zhu Long sensed that Zhangju was in a bad mood, so he kept his voice low. I asked her the same question at the time. She said that someone installed a steel door on the stairs, and the door is filled with junk. We can't get to the second floor. Zhangju was the first to climb up the bookshelf. At the time, I didn't suspect her, so I didn't go down the stairs to take a look. Should we go take a look this time? We'll talk after we find the mirror. Chen Ge did not want to complicate the issue. The group followed Zhangju's instructions to the second floor. They only took a few steps when they heard footsteps coming from the end of the second floor corridor. It's another familiar sound. When I came here last time, I also heard these footsteps. At the time, Chang Wenyu told me a story about the ghost in the library. It gave me quite a fright. Now that I think about it, the footsteps should belong to the librarian. Zhangju signaled for the others to follow behind him. Follow me and don't fall behind. If you do as I say, you can avoid any conflict. What should we do? The sound is getting closer. Do you see the door to the second reading room on the second floor? Zhangju pointed at a door not far away. From now on, close your eyes and hold the wall as you move toward that door. No matter what you touch or hear, do not open your eyes until we enter that door. Will it work? What's the difference between that and burying one's head in the sand? Just do as he says. The librarian is also a member of the art club. He will draw everyone who sees him into his painting. Zhou Tu was the first to close his eyes, and the others believed him. In the end, only Chen Ge was left. Listening to the approaching footsteps, he gestured at his shadow and then closed his eyes. The footsteps came closer and closer. Chen Ge's group held the wall as they slowly moved forward. It felt like they would run into someone at any moment. With his eyes closed, his surroundings were dark, and fear rushed at him like a wave. The footsteps came closer. The person did not seem to notice Zhangju and Zhou Tu and maintained a constant speed, but when it passed Chen Ge, the footsteps suddenly disappeared. It stopped beside me. Chen Ge did not open his eyes. Touching the wall, he continued to move forward. Several seconds later, the footsteps came again, heading toward the end of the corridor. Pushing open the door to the second reading room, Chen Ge took a deep breath. What you've been through, I've experienced it that night. It feels like history is repeating itself. Zhangju waited for everyone to enter the reading room before closing the door. If I'm not mistaken, the mirror should be hidden on the last shelf. The truth was about to be revealed, but before Chen Ge could approach, a familiar figure walked out from the last shelf. I knew you would find this place. The black shadow was carrying a large, old backpack. His head was lowered, and his back was hunched. The sudden appearance of the shadow caused the atmosphere in the reading room to become tense. Chen Ge's group stood where they were, and no one moved forward. You would rather believe the ghost behind the door than the living person outside the door? The shadow slowly raised his head to reveal a pair of strange eyes. His right eye was the same as a normal person's, but his left eye was blood red, like a glass bead soaked in red paint. Chang Ji. His lips moved, and Chen Ge uttered a name. He did not expect to see the man there. I know you have many questions, but I don't have time to explain them to you. You only need to know that no matter what, I will not harm you. Chang Ji raised the backpack in his hand. This is yours. I brought it for you. Chang Ji was holding the backpack that Chen Ge had brought out from the haunted house. The zipper had been opened, and everything inside was inside. Why is my backpack with you? Chen Ge took a step forward. Don't go over there, Zhangju stopped Chen Ge. I don't have this person in my memory. The situation has changed. Chang Ji also heard Zhangju's voice, and he grinned. You sure are popular. You can make friends no matter where you go. Moving to the side, Chang Ji glanced outside the reading room, and his words sped up. The backpack was given to me by my little sister. She told me that you would definitely come here. Chang Wenyu, yes, she will help you leave the school, but the condition is that you agree to cooperate with her. Chang Ji put down the backpack. That is why you are here. It was Chang Wenyu who dragged me into the door? You two siblings worked together to set me up? Chen Ge was used to thinking from the worst possible angle. He recalled the scene when he was dragged through the door at the hospital. The first hand that reached out from the door was slender and weak. It was indeed a woman's arm. There are a lot of things that I just found out, so it's not a lie. At least, I don't have any intention of lying to you. Changgu's complexion was much better than before, as if he had become 10 years younger. Tell me, how does she want to cooperate? Chen Ge felt that there was no one he could trust in this school. Everyone was doing this for his own benefit. Don't use that reluctant tone. She is trying to save you. The situation at this school is far more complicated than you think. Without her, you will probably never wake up. Chang Jiyu took the initiative to walk towards Chen Ge. We are friends who share the same goal and understand each other. Zhang Ju and Zhu Long stood on either side of Chen Ge, and everyone looked at Chang Jiyu cautiously. What do you need me to do? Chen Ge did not like to beat around the bush, especially in a place as dangerous as the door. The painter is about to become the new door pusher. The moment he becomes the door pusher, all the souls behind this door will be trapped here forever, living in the beautiful paradise that the painter has created. Chang Jiyu did not stop moving. He was very close to Chen Ge. Isn't that good? Give the homeless souls a home, forget the pain and despair, and create a blood-red heaven. Chen Ge realized that Chang Jiyu had changed a lot. He could not feel the presence of a living person on the man. There's no need to trick me. Actually, you know that there is no heaven in this world. The painter is just daydreaming. My sister wants to stop him, but her power is not enough, so I need your help. Chang Jiyu ignored the two half-red specters around Chen Ge. His red left eye was like a heart, and it was beating lightly in his eye socket. There are 13 ghosts at this school who have the right to become the door pusher. The painter is the strongest, and my sister is second. The remaining 11 have submitted to the painter, and some have had their memories wiped and turned into puppets. The difference in power is too big. Even including me, I don't think we can stop the painter. Chen Ge was not pouring cold water on Chang Jiyu. He was telling the truth. His biggest reliance, Zhang Ya, was still asleep. We don't need you to deal with the painter. You only need to awaken all the ghosts that the painter has sealed. How do I do that? Hearing that he did not need to deal with the painter, Chen Ge sighed in relief. Haven't you done a good job already? Chang Jiyu pointed at Zhang Ju's group. All 3 of them are on the list. Of the 4 ghosts around me, 3 of them have the right to become the door pusher. Chen Ge did not expect his luck to be so good. However, thinking about it, in the western campus that only had beautiful memories left, the few of them were still isolated. That in itself was very unusual. Chen Ge was about to ask which of the 4 ghosts had the right to become the door pusher when Chang Jiyu spoke again. My sister will try her best to distract the painter. In this period of time, you need to find as many ghosts that the painter has sealed and awaken them. Okay, no problem. Chen Ge had no choice but to agree. He could not afford to offend the painter and Chang Wenyu. Furthermore, awakening ghosts and accumulating power was what he wanted to do. I knew you would agree. Chang Jiyu looked at Chen Ge with satisfaction. One last thing, my sister wants me to tell you. Chang Wenyu has something to say to me. Chen Ge had not met Chang Wenyu before, so he had no idea why she would place so much importance on him. Yes, she hopes that you can gain the school's approval and gain the right to become the door pusher. Changgu's red left eye twitched like he was observing Chen Ge's reaction. I don't want to be trapped behind the door forever. Chen Ge rejected him without hesitation. I just want you to gain the right. Changgu's expression softened. Only by gaining the school's approval will you have an easier time escaping. Then, what do I need to do? Chen Ge had heard about this from Zhou Tu, so he asked Chang Jiyu for insurance. This door is different from other doors. The scene behind the door has been split into 2 by the painter, one normal and the other blood red. I believe you've seen it for yourself. It's similar to the 2 campuses. The western campus will transport all the negative emotions and despairing memories to the eastern campus to maintain the cleanliness of the western campus. Then, the painter will transport the negative emotions from the eastern campus to the other half of the blood red scenario. The normal part behind the door that has been purified is controlled by the painter, and the school's consciousness is hidden in the other half of the blood red scenario. It's hard to explain, so you should go take a look for yourself. But I hope you're prepared. The bloody side of this door is worse than any other door you've seen before. Chang Jiyu thought about it. After confirming that he had not forgotten anything, he retreated to the side. The mirror next to the bookshelf is the entrance. Hurry to get the approval. This abandoned school will soon descend into chaos. Welcome to Fanfic Audiobook, your go-to place for immersive audiobooks. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. Footsteps came from the corridor outside the reading room. The librarian was moving toward them. Even though Chen Ge still had many questions, he did not have the time to ask. Chen Ge, I hope you won't lie to me. I can do my best to help your sister, but you have to guarantee that my friends and I will be able to leave this school safely. Chen Ge gathered with the other club members. He was a man of his word. Since he had promised to take Zhangju and the rest away, he would definitely do his best. I can promise you that, but the problem is, will my promise be useful? Here, anything can happen. Even the painter cannot give you 100% guarantee. Changgu's red eye twitched. No one knew what he was thinking. You've changed a lot since you entered the door. Looks like I'll have to re-evaluate our relationship. Chen Ge's expression was calm. He was always like this. It was hard to tell whether he was bluffing or he had another trump card up his sleeve. We're friends, and we both came from outside the door. We know each other well, so I won't harm you. Chen Ge raised the backpack in his hand. Look, I've even helped you deliver your stuff. We're indeed friends, but I've made some friends in the door as well. We're all friends, so I hope you won't make things difficult for me. There was one thing that Chen Ge did not tell Chen Ge. In the toilet on the top floor of the education block, he had promised to be someone's friend. At the time, he had used Lin Cici's phone to watch Lin Cici being bullied. At the end of the video, he had heard a voice in his ear, and the voice had wanted to be his friend. With the thought that more friends meant more options, Chen Ge had agreed. Now that he thought about it, the owner of the voice was probably the painter. Many people wanted to make use of Chen Ge, but if they got to know Chen Ge better, they would regret it. Okay, we'll do as you say. Chen Ge led the other club members to stand beside Chen Ge. Can you give me my stuff now? No problem, but you have to wait until you enter the mirror before you can open the backpack. Chen Ge did not pass the backpack to Chen Ge. Instead, he followed him to the last row of bookshelves. The few of them worked together to push the bookshelf aside, revealing a mirror covered with a black cloth. This mirror can't be used much longer. You'd better hurry and get the school's approval before the painter discovers this place. Chen Ge pulled back the black cloth and handed the backpack to Chen Ge. Stand before the mirror and place your hand on it. Look with your heart, and you will see the world on the other side of the mirror. After accepting the backpack, Chen Ge did not immediately place his hand on the mirror. Instead, he took a step back. What do you want? Chen Ge frowned. Don't be nervous. It's my first time here. I don't have any experience, so I want to see how others do it. Chen Ge resisted the urge to open the backpack and gave Zhangju a look. These scenes should have appeared in your memory before. Zhangju nodded and pushed Zhou Tu towards Zhu Long. He stood before the mirror. To be honest, I do want to live in the painter's dream, but if the price is freedom, then forget it. The scarred arm rested on the surface of the mirror, and Zhangju raised his head to look at himself in the mirror. Chen Ge had noticed something a long time ago. In the world behind the door, mirrors rarely appeared. It was as if in this blood-red world, mirrors had a special meaning. He stood at the back of the group and watched patiently. If not for the people around him, he would have grabbed a pen and paper to record the whole process down. Blood dripped down his arm and landed on the mirror. Blood vessels crawled on the surface, and it was hard to tell whether they came from outside the mirror or from inside the mirror. The blood vessels grew, and at one moment, in the blink of an eye, the scene in the mirror suddenly changed. It was still a library, but the library in the mirror had turned blood red. Blood flowed, and every book appeared to be written in blood. I didn't expect that I would return one day. This time, I hope I won't make the wrong choice again, Zhangju mumbled to himself outside the mirror. Outside the mirror, Zhangju mumbled to himself, but inside the mirror, he did not move. Like a soulless puppet, his head was lowered, and his eyes were closed. Be careful. Don't wander around after you enter the mirror. Wait where you are. We'll move together. There's strength in numbers. Chen Ge wanted to say something, but Zhangju's condition was unstable. He did not listen to Chen Ge. The head that had been deformed by the fire slowly turned. Zhangju's remaining right eye was as red as blood. He stared at Chen Ge. The wounds on his body were all torn open, and endless blood vessels flowed on his body. Your left eye is very beautiful. I want to eat it. Zhangju seemed to be agitated by something. His expression twisted, but strangely enough, His expression in the mirror started to change as well, slowly turning into his real self. When the two synchronized, his hand that was on the mirror was pulled, and his body was pulled into the mirror. He was pulled into the mirror by his reflection. Before Chen Ge could react, there was only a pool of blood left before the mirror. Zhangju disappeared like he had never been there. The mirror can reflect your appearance, but it can't reflect your soul. On one side of the mirror is your body, and on the other side is your desire. When you look in the mirror, you can see your ugliest side, and when you look in the mirror, you can see your most dangerous side. After sending Zhangju away, Changgu's tone became more relaxed. The mirror behind the School of the Afterlife's door is different from the one in real life. The painter has placed all the beautiful things inside the mirror, and all the ugly, despairing, and scary things are placed outside the mirror. So, when you look into the mirror, you will see a different version of yourself. When Zhangju spoke, Zhou Tu had already passed through the mirror. He moved so fast that the members around him, including Chen Ge and Chang Jiyu, did not notice him. "Mr. Bai, I know you haven't told me many things." Zhu Long seemed to have something to say, but considering the presence of outsiders, he did not say it. "I rarely trust others. I hope you won't disappoint me." Placing his palm on the mirror, Zhu Long looked at his reflection. His large body was pieced back together. The reflection in the mirror could not be considered a person at all. It was more like a doll sewn by a bad child. The blood stain before the mirror thickened. After all the members left, Chen Ge carried the two backpacks and stood before the mirror. "After gaining the school's approval, you have the right to become the door pusher, but I know you just want to leave and won't do anything irrational." Only Chang Jiyu and Chen Ge were left in the reading room, so Chang Jiyu stopped hiding and warned Chen Ge directly. Staring at the mirror, Chen Ge did not turn around. "Chang Jiyu, what kind of person do you think I am?" After the incident in Liwan City, Chen Ge knew that he had lost a part of his memory, so he sometimes felt like Zhangju and the rest, lost and confused. The mirror behind the door can reflect your real self, and you'll see a different version of yourself. Chang Jiyu had no interest in Chen Ge. He was just completing the mission given to him by Chang Wenyu. "Is that so?" Chen Ge placed his palm on the mirror, and the chill traveled into his brain. He could not help but be reminded of the first nightmare mission that he had completed when he first obtained the black phone. The mission was for him to stand before the mirror at midnight and look at his reflection. The mirror is the beginning of everything. Now that I'm standing before the mirror again, I wonder what I'll see this time. Closing his eyes, Chen Ge silently counted his heartbeats like he did during his first nightmare mission. Several seconds later, someone pulled on Chen Ge's palm, and his eyes flew open. In the mirror, he was standing next to the bookshelf, lonely and despairing. His face was as white as paper, and his body was shaking. His eyes were unfocused and empty like he was a mannequin in a haunted house. "Is this me?" His fingers were gripped tightly, and Chen Ge could feel the power coming from the mirror. He saw his shadow in the mirror changing. Strands of black hair curled around Chen Ge's body in the mirror. His shadow slowly stood up and shielded him from behind. Zhang Ya. The shadow's face became clearer. When he focused all his attention on the shadow, the black hair in the mirror suddenly curled around his arm and pulled him into the mirror. Chen Ge disappeared, and the reading room returned to silence. Something's not right. Chang Jiyu did not leave, and his expression was one of shock. When he stood before the mirror, why did he look so unreal in the mirror? Walking quickly to stand before the mirror, Chang Jiyu looked at himself in the mirror. The reflection in the mirror was not Chang Jiyu himself but a hideous monster. On the other side of the mirror is a blood-red world. This mirror can reflect the ugliness in one's heart. But when that person looked into the mirror, it was still himself in the mirror. Is there no evil in his heart at all? Or is it that his evil thoughts are hidden in the deepest part of his heart that even the mirror behind the door can't reflect them? Chang Jiyu could not come up with an answer. He looked at the ugly reflection of himself in the mirror with confusion. His finger reached toward the mirror and finally stopped before it. Everyone has a monster in their hearts. It's ugly and barbaric, and it can't be exposed to the light. The thick smell of blood rushed into his nostrils, and there was a sticky feeling on his skin. Chen Ge's eyelids fluttered, and he took a deep breath, as if a drowning person had finally surfaced from the water. Opening his eyes, Chen Ge saw a blood-red world. This is the world behind the door. It is suffocating, filled with despair and anxiety. Chen Ge stood where he was and carefully looked around. He stood in front of a cracked mirror, surrounded by blood-red bookshelves, tables and chairs. In the second reading room, I've finally entered the world behind the door. Chen Ge hid in the corner. His footsteps were light, and he did not make any sound. Zhang Ju and Zhu Long arrived before me. How come I can't see them? To prevent everyone from getting separated, before Chen Ge entered the mirror, he gave the club members a few instructions. Was there an accident? Squatting down, Chen Ge used his yin-yang vision to look around. He did not see any signs of a fight, nor did he see any footprints. Did Zhang Ju and the rest leave earlier? Or is there something guarding the other side of the mirror, and they left in a hurry? Chen Ge was very careful. Before exploring a new environment, he had to ensure his own safety. Putting down Lin Cici's backpack, Chen Ge pulled open the zipper of his own backpack. He could not wait to meet his employees. The recorder, the doll, the comic, these are all here. Chen Ge rummaged through his backpack, and his face darkened. The black phone was missing something that should have been there, and there was something that did not belong to him. The black phone is not in the bag. He rummaged through the backpack several times, but he could not find the black phone. However, he did find a student ID inside the compartment where he normally kept his important stuff. The bloodied student ID had his name on it, and it had his picture printed on it. Strangely enough, the picture was taken when he was young. Looking at the picture, Chen Ge was reminded of the shadow in Liwan City and the ghost fetus behind the shadow. This student ID was given to me by Chang Wenyu. How did she know what I looked like when I was young? Putting the ID away, Chen Ge took out the recorder and switched it on. The static was interspersed with screams and wails, and one could even hear a man mumbling to himself. The corner of his lips curled up. For Chen Ge, this scary voice was 100 times better than the best song in the world. Shu Yin. Blood dripped, and a pale arm reached out from under the red shirt. Chen Ge did not turn around and placed the recorder back into his backpack. Even though I do not wish for Chang Wenyu to become the door pusher, she did help me escape from a difficult situation. I have to return the favor, but the method is up to me. From the beginning, Chen Ge did not plan to help Chang Wenyu become the door pusher. No matter who controlled this 4-star scenario, it would not benefit him. He hoped that this place would remain chaotic until Zhang Ya became a greater red specter, and then he would pick someone from the haunted house to become the door pusher. This is the perfect solution. This way, the painter and Chang Wenyu won't have to go against each other. We can be friends. With the haunted house employees around him, Chen Ge was in a good mood. Looking at the red world around him, he felt a sense of closeness. Chang Wenyu has stalled the painter, and the two scariest people in this scenario are fighting it out. No one seems to have the time to care about me. Chen Ge revealed a sincere smile. Chang Jiyu said something big is going to happen here, and she told me to be careful. In other words, since this place is going to be chaotic anyway, why don't I do it myself? Glancing at the information on the student ID one last time, Chen Ge memorized his class and student number. Then, he placed the ID in his pocket next to Mr. Bai's teacher ID. He carried a backpack in each hand, and listening to the static from the recorder, he strode out of the reading room. The sound of footsteps echoed in the quiet library. The broken door was pushed open, and a man walked out. There is no one in the library. Do all the children behind the door dislike reading so much? Carrying the two backpacks, Chen Ge stood in the corridor outside the library. The encounter that he had been waiting for did not happen. There was no one there, so he could not get any information. Where are they hiding? Walking down the corridor, Chen Ge wandered aimlessly. The red campus behind the door appeared to be a completely enclosed building, cut off from the outside world. All the windows were boarded up. Chen Ge walked for a long time, but he could not find the way out. Hey, which class are you from? A stern voice came from behind Chen Ge. He turned around and realized that one of the doors that he had passed earlier had been opened, and standing at the door was a short and fat middle-aged man. It's not a red specter. Chen Ge glanced at the sign on the door of the room that the man was in. It read, Academic Affairs Office. It's class time now. Don't wander around the corridor. Seeing that Chen Ge did not take him seriously, the man's face instantly turned serious. Which class are you from? Let me take a look at your student ID. Student ID? Chen Ge reached his hand into his pocket, but his eyes kept staring at the man before him. There was a dangerous glint hidden deep in his eyes. When he first saw the man, Chen Ge used his yin-yang vision to study him. He did not know the man's identity, but he knew that the man was not a red specter. A first-year student. The man accepted the student ID and looked at it. His tone became sterner. Skipping class when you just started school. A child like you needs to be taught a lesson. He walked out from the office and reached out to grab Chen Ge's arm. What are you doing? Chen Ge evaded subconsciously. This was the world behind the door. He would not allow anyone to get close to him. I'll take you back to class and warn the teacher who allowed you to wander around during class. The pudgy man was a little angry. He glared at Chen Ge, as if something more serious was going to happen if Chen Ge did not do as he said. Okay, I'll go back to class with you. Chen Ge still remembered the task that Chang Ji-yu had given him. He could use this opportunity to find those students. After saying that, he stopped, as if waiting for the pudgy teacher to lead the way. Seeing his perfunctory attitude, the short and fat man's hair stood up in anger. This is getting more and more ridiculous. The pudgy man shoved the student ID to Chen Ge and led Chen Ge down the corridor. The school was much bigger than Chen Ge had imagined. They walked for a long time and went down another floor. Finally, they stopped next to a classroom. Bang bang bang. The short, fat man knocked on the door. A moment later, a tall, thin man walked out. Director Lei, what's the matter? Haven't you noticed that there's a student missing from your class? The short, fat man grabbed Chen Ge's arm. He's in your class. Keep him in check. If I find him running around during class again, both of you better be prepared to be punished. This is getting more and more ridiculous. The short, fat man left Chen Ge at the classroom door. He seemed to have other matters to attend to, so he left angrily. Mr. Lei, the thin, tall teacher looked confused. He pushed up his black-rimmed glasses. Through the thick lenses, he looked at Chen Ge up and down. You're a new student? It was Mr. Lei who brought me here. This is my student ID. Chen Ge pointed at the short, fat man who had walked away. His expression, combined with his tone of voice, gave the impression that he knew Mr. Lei. Oh, come in first. There are a few empty seats in my class. The thin teacher nodded. As he was about to lead Chen Ge in, he suddenly stopped. I don't like noisy children. Try to get along with everyone and integrate into our big family. Okay, one more thing, my surname is Liu, so you can call me Mr. Liu. Pushing open the classroom door, Mr. Liu led Chen Ge to the podium. The class was quiet, and the atmosphere was good, but there were not many who were actually studying. Seeing someone come in, many of the students lifted their heads to look at the podium. I'll take a minute of your time. There's a new student in our class. Please introduce yourself. Mr. Liu signaled for Chen Ge to come over. Walking to the podium, Chen Ge looked down at the students in the class. On the surface, there was nothing wrong with the class, but he knew very well that the only beauty in the world behind the door had been stolen by the painter. At that moment, this blood-red world was left with various negative emotions that had been suppressed at the bottom of his heart. My name is Chen Ge. After a very brief and personal introduction, Chen Ge carried his large bag and walked down from the podium. You're not going to say anything else? Mr. Liu coughed dryly. Your seat is in the third row from the back. The seats in our class are arranged according to the results. After the midterm, if you do well, I'll change your seat. Mr. Liu's words seemed to have a hidden meaning. Actually, Chen Ge did not think there was anything wrong with sitting at the back of the classroom. When he was in university, he had always sat at the back of the classroom. Carrying his backpack, Chen Ge walked to the back of the classroom. The students on both sides looked at him. The gazes fell on him. Some were gloating, some were malicious, and some were already numb. At the back of the classroom, Chen Ge stopped next to his seat. The student sitting behind him kicked his dirty shoes onto his chair. As the student's body swayed, his chair creaked noisily like it was going to fall apart. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I didn't expect a new student to come to our class. The student slowly took his shoes back, and 2 black and red footprints were left on Chen Ge's chair. Okay, everyone, hurry up and take your seats. We're going to continue the class. Mr. Liu's thick glasses seemed to block his vision, and he acted like he did not see what was happening at the back of the classroom. Chen Ge, don't just stand there. Go and sit in your seat. Okay. Chen Ge's expression did not change. He took out a clean piece of paper from Lin Cici's backpack and placed it on the table. Just as everyone thought that he was going to swallow his anger and wipe away the footprints on the chair, he grabbed the back of the chair, picked it up, and swung it at the student sitting at the back. Bang! The old chair fell apart when it hit the boy's head. The class was silent, and even Mr. Liu was shocked. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." Picking up the clean piece of paper, Chen Ge wiped away the blood on his hands and moved the boy's chair to his seat. You, get out here." Mr. Liu's hands were shaking. It was unclear whether it was from fear or anger. "Okay." Chen Ge pressed the play button on the recorder. He placed Lin Cici's backpack on the table and scanned the class again. The paper that was dyed red was tossed on the table. The blood that had been wiped off from Chen Ge's hand was still on it. From the moment Chen Ge entered the classroom to the moment the student was knocked to the ground, the whole process had only taken several minutes. No one expected something like this to happen. It was too sudden. Carrying his backpack with one hand, Chen Ge did not even look at the boy at the back and walked toward Mr. Liu. "Stand outside." This was the first time that Mr. Liu had encountered such a student. He was too brave, too crazy, completely ignoring his existence and publicly attacking others in class. "Sir, you can punish me however you want, but he is the one who made the mistake first. He doesn't know where to place his legs. I just want to teach him a lesson." Chen Ge had just entered the classroom when he was called out again. Carrying the backpack, Chen Ge opened the classroom door. When he walked out, he saw the boy at the back of the classroom crawl up from the ground. Reddish liquid leaked out from the top of his head and flowed down his nose to the side of his mouth. The boy's eyes were filled with venom, and his expression was twisted. However, when Mr. Liu walked over, the venom in his eyes disappeared, and he forced out a few tears with a face full of grievance. They're quite good at pretending. These precocious guys are completely different in front of their teachers and parents and in front of the bullied. On one side, they're pure and bright and diligent, while on the other, they're vicious and mean, venting all their negative emotions on the bullied. Walking out from the classroom, the way the students looked at him flashed across Chen Ge's mind. "I've memorized the faces of those who wanted to see me embarrass myself. These B***stards shouldn't be able to gain the school's approval." The school of the afterlife's consciousness was formed from the despair of countless children. The children who had the chance to become the door pushers were mostly the victims of school bullying. Chen Ge wanted to complete the mission given by Chang Wenyu and strengthen himself, so he had to find the other door pusher candidates who had been sealed by the painter. Helping the bullied and using my own method to educate the bullies, perhaps that will gain the school's approval. There were many benefits to being recognized by the school. Chen Ge knew that he had not experienced those painful experiences, so he found another way to gain recognition. The red campus behind the door is huge, and there are many students here. It will be difficult to find the children who have the right to become the door pusher. Standing in the corridor, Chen Ge looked into the classroom through the window. His eyes scanned the children one by one. In the third row from the back, the student sitting next to me has dirt on his shirt, and his textbook is wrinkled like it has been tampered with. This child should have been bullied before. The class was arranged according to the student's academic performance. The child sat in the third row from the back. His academic performance was not good, but it could not be said to be bad either. Teacher Liu was lecturing in the classroom when he suddenly realized that most of the students were not looking at him. Instead, they were looking out the window. He turned his head in confusion and happened to meet Chen Ge's gaze. Outrageous. The more Mr. Liu thought about it, the angrier he got. He walked out of the classroom and said, "What are you looking at? I told you to come out and reflect on yourself. Stand there obediently." "Teacher, I have been reflecting on myself, but there is a question that I do not understand." Chen Ge looked at Mr. Liu. What kind of mistake has a teacher committed? How did he end up being sent into a world filled with negative emotions and despair? Did he turn a blind eye to the bullying? Or did he do something to bully some of the children? That is not a question for you to reflect on. Earlier in the classroom, you saw it for yourself. It was he who stepped on my chair first. I wanted to argue with him, but my hand slipped, and the chair fell, knocking into that student. I admit that I was wrong, but is he really innocent? Chen Ge spoke quickly. Actually, this whole thing could have been avoided. As long as you said something when you noticed the problem, it would have been fine. The boy was very obedient before you, and he appeared to be very obedient. Mr. Liu wanted to argue, but he was interrupted by Chen Ge. But you did not do that. Perhaps you just thought it was troublesome, or perhaps you did not care about it at all. The boy's actions, from your perspective, were just a game between children. You already have enough things to worry about in your life, So why would you seek trouble for yourself? In fact, there is another possibility. When you saw me being bullied, you felt a secret pleasure in your heart. Bullsh ****. Human nature is like a flower that blooms in the abyss. Everyone longs for sunlight, but who knows what is hidden under your roots? Chen Ge's eyes were dark, and Mr. Liu did not dare to look him in the eye. The two of them wanted to argue, but at that moment, the bell that signaled the end of class came from the end of the corridor. It was different from a normal bell. The sound was mixed with many things, and it sounded very strange. You better reflect on yourself and give me a 3,000-word self-reflection report before school ends, otherwise, I will go find Mr. Lei and have him reflect on your problem. Mr. Liu returned to the classroom and announced the end of class. He did not even take the lesson plan from the podium and left in a hurry. This teacher is a bit irresponsible. Chen Ge carried his bag and returned to the classroom. When the students who sat in the front row saw him walk in, they very consciously put away the books and cups on the table and then ran out of the classroom. They seemed to know what was going to happen next. The classroom appeared to be much more spacious. Chen Ge did not think much of it and walked to his seat. He looked at his deskmate and revealed a friendly smile. "Hello, my name is Chen Ge, your new deskmate." Chen Ge's deskmate heard his voice, but he did not dare to reply. He lowered his head to stare at the textbook, and his legs shook involuntarily. "Da Bing, he's talking to you." At the last row of the classroom, a student with his uniform tied around his waist stood up. Next to him were 4 students, and they surrounded Chen Ge and his deskmate in the middle. Hearing this male student's voice, Chen Ge's deskmate lowered his head even more. His eyes were glued to the textbook, and his hands gripped the strap of his backpack. "Are you deaf? I'm talking to you." The student snatched away Chen Ge's deskmate's textbook. The sound of the pages being torn was rather shrill. Chen Ge's deskmate still did not say anything. He stood up with his head lowered and prepared to walk out of the classroom, but he was pulled by another male student at the back of the classroom. "Why are you running? Can't you see the new students want to be friends with you?" The boy who was called Da Bing stood where he was. He did not dare to resist, and he did not say anything. Such a blockhead. No wonder your parents didn't want you after their divorce. The leading male student grabbed Chen Ge's deskmate by the neck. "But that's fine. In the future, we'll bring you along to play. There are many fun things to play with." When he said that, all the students around him started to laugh. It was a laugh that was filled with malice and mockery. Da Bing endured the students' laughter. He lowered his head and allowed the male student to grab his neck. "No, I seem to have forgotten something. Da Bing, earlier, your deskmate asked you a question. Now tell him, do you want to play with him or do you want to play with us?" These students were waiting to see Da Bing make a fool of himself. Their gazes were like knives that cut into Da Bing's body. His neck was grabbed, his shirt was pulled, and his textbook was snatched away. The pages were torn. Da Bing stood next to the table, and his eyes were dim. His lips opened slightly, and just as he was about to say something, Chen Ge suddenly spoke. "Deskmate, there's no need for you to be so conflicted. Actually, if you become friends with me, and then I become friends with everyone else, then you'll be friends with everyone in our class." Chen Ge took the initiative to extend his hand toward Da Bing. No one had ever talked to Da Bing like that before. He subconsciously raised his hand. ****. The leading man grabbed Da Bing's neck and shoved him to the ground. Before he could say anything else, there was a loud crash next to him. Turning back to look, he saw Chen Ge kick over the table and pick up the chair that was still intact. Without any unnecessary words, the heavy chair landed on the leading man's head. Bang! One of the wooden chair's legs was broken. Chen Ge was about to summon Xu Yan to clean up the scene when a scream came from the door. "Chen Ge!" Teacher Liu realized that he did not have his lesson plan, so he came back to get it. Once he entered the classroom, he was shocked. Just half a minute ago, he had just warned the man. He went out for a stroll, and now another student had been knocked over. You, what are you doing?" Seeing the teacher return, the students that were gathered together immediately changed their expressions, and they rushed to help the student on the ground. Chen Ge's attack was heavy because he knew that if the student could still stand up, then he would have another problem to deal with. "Teacher." He knocked Long Yuan unconscious. "I know, I don't need you to tell me, hurry and take him to the nurse's office." Teacher Liu rushed into the classroom and glared at Chen Ge. "Why did you fight with a student again? This time, I saw it very clearly, it was you who started it. You'd better give me a reasonable explanation. How should I say this? Chen Ge put down the chair that was about to fall apart again. He tilted his head to point at the fainted student on the ground. It was self-defense because I saw from his eyes that he wanted to bully me. If you don't believe me, when he wakes up, you can ask him. You really are a scourge. My excellent class is about to be ruined by you. No. I need to go find Mr. Lei now. Teacher Lu was really angry. You guys take him to the nurse's office. Chen Ge, stand in the corridor. Okay. Chen Ge's reply was always two simple words, flat and flat. After Teacher Lu left, a student in the back row stood up. He gritted his teeth and glared at Chen Ge. You're lucky that Teacher Lu helped you out this time. After school, we'll settle the score. Hearing the threat from the boy in the back row, Chen Ge stood where he was in shock. I should be the one saying that. If not for Teacher Lu, you guys wouldn't even be able to be ghosts anymore. Waving his hand, Chen Ge picked up his backpack with a smile. See you after school. After being punished twice on the first day of school, Chen Ge's name soon spread around the school. He stood at the classroom door with his bag. The students that passed by all looked at him, and he studied those students. The mission that Chong Wenyu gave me sure is difficult. Every student looks like they have an abnormal side to them. The bell rang, but Mr. Lu did not return. Chen Ge returned to the classroom. He moved the chair that belonged to the second fainted student to his seat and sat down comfortably. The new teacher started the class. Chen Ge did not pay attention. He took out a pen and paper from his bag and started to think about how to find the children who had the right to be the door pusher. He was deep in thought when a small note suddenly reached out from the table next to him. There were only two simple words on it, thank you. Seeing Chen Ge was surprised. From how he saw it, there was only despair and negative emotions in the red world behind the door. The people there would not be able to say thank you. What's there to thank? You were bullied because of me, so of course, I had to stand up. This is what I should do. Chen Ge turned to speak to Da Bing, who was sitting at the same table, but Da Bing did not dare to reply. He maintained his posture like Chen Ge was talking to himself. There was no communication between him and Chen Ge. Are you afraid? Chen Ge knew the worry in Da Bing's heart. I'm sorry. After a long time, Da Bing passed him another note. This time, Chen Ge was smarter. He took out a pen and wrote a few words on the back of the note. It's fine. They've crossed the line. I can't stand them. He handed the note back. When Da Bing saw it, he picked up the pen and started writing again. Me too, but I don't dare resist. I have no friends, no one to help me. The teacher only cares about my grades, but I'm stupid. On Da Bing's note, there was helplessness between the lines. In the future, you'll have friends. My name is Chen Ge. What about you? Li Bing. Since my name has the character Bing in it, and my face is big and round, they call me Da Bing. Got it. I'll remember that. Chen Ge, I'm sorry just now. I should have stood up, but I'm really scared. Do you think I'm a coward? No one is born strong. Besides, a person's personality and cognition are highly malleable. This is a kind of adaptability to society and living environment. I know that you are actually very hardworking. Chen Ge handed the note to Da Bing. A moment later, he took out a new piece of paper and wrote a sentence on the front. Can you tell me about your past? Chen Ge suspected that Li Bing was one of the people he was looking for, so he started to test him. What are you referring to? About you and the other people in this class, when did they start bullying you? Looking at the contents of the note, Li Bing hesitated for a long time before he started writing. He wrote a long paragraph and handed it to Chen Ge. My actual situation is different from what they say. My parents love me very much, so what they say doesn't hurt me. From how I see it, they are a group of demons who like to dig up other people's scars. They build their happiness on other people's pain. I just need to endure it for a while. After all, there is a teacher here, and they don't dare do anything to me. Chen Ge, I advise you not to get into conflict with them in the future. They have their own clique, and the guy that you knocked out earlier seems to know some ruffians from outside the school. The content of the note made Chen Ge feel unsettled. The bullied had lost the courage to fight back and only wanted to escape. Perhaps deep down in their hearts, they believed that one day, they would grow up and leave this place, so they just endured it and got over it. They did not know that some experiences would be carved into their bones and become a shadow that they could not shake off. Whenever they were reminded of it, even if they tried to deny it, they would still feel uncomfortable. Chen Ge looked at the note, but he did not argue with Li Bing. What could a child do in a situation like this? They were defenseless, isolated, and helpless. When the evil came, it was like they were stripped naked under the spotlight. There was nowhere to run, and they could only hold on to what they had and endure it silently. Seeing Chen Ge's silence, Li Bing passed him the second note. Just endure it. If you resist, you might end up like Yan Fei. Who is Yan Fei? The student who used to sit in your seat. Where is he now? After that incident, Yan Fei dropped out of school. He left the school. No, he is still at the nurse's office. It was his parents who helped him with the paperwork. Li Bing then handed Chen Ge another note. He has been freed. Do not disturb him. Chen Ge pocketed Li Bing's note, and his eyes moved between Li Bing and his own seat. When he first entered the classroom, his seat had been stepped on, and it looked like it was about to fall apart. There were various scratches on the table, and the drawer was sticky like it was stuffed with a lot of trash. These were all things that had happened to Yan Fei. Compared to Yan Fei, Li Bing's situation was much worse. The people who were bullied were Yan Fei, and Li Bing was just a replacement that they found after Yan Fei left. The evil in the world behind the door was magnified, and the bad side of human nature was fully exposed. Just by looking at the table and chair that Yan Fei had used, one could understand what had happened to him. Is he at the nurse's office because he was injured by those people? There was a fire burning in Chen Ge's heart. He had no idea why he was so angry. Perhaps it was because of the school's incompetence, or perhaps it was because of the bullies who lacked education. That's not it. Li Bing shook his head and tore out another piece of paper. After writing a few sentences, he sneakily passed it to Chen Ge. They have been bullying Yan Fei, targeting him at every turn. They threw away his homework, destroyed his table and chair, and scribbled on his bag and shirt. Why do they have to bully Yan Fei? Chen Ge had a feeling that Yan Fei was the person he was looking for, and he wanted to get to the bottom of Yan Fei's past. I don't know. Yan Fei grew up in a normal family, just like you and me. The only difference is that he has a strong sense of pride, and he doesn't like other people's jokes. He is a bit of a loner. Perhaps those people wanted to throw Yan Fei's pride to the ground and step on it to satisfy their own desires. Yan Fei used to be quite good at school, above average, but due to many things, his results got worse and worse. His parents were worried, and the teacher treated him coldly. Finally, one day, when someone was fighting over his notebook, he got into a fight with them. Yan Fei endured it for a long time, but he was alone, and he was soon pinned down. Since it was in a classroom, the teacher soon came to pull them apart. Later, when the teacher asked for the reason, many people were silent. The few who spoke were the bullies' friends. They said that they were just joking. Yan Fei's pride was too strong, and he couldn't take a joke, so he attacked first. That was indeed the case. The teacher had everyone write a self-reflection. For the bullies, this was a normal thing, but this was the first time Yan Fei had to write a self-reflection. He was my deskmate, and I saw him cry. The next day, when he came to class, Yan Fei's clothes were tattered. On the way to school, he seemed to have been stopped by the gangsters. The bullying became worse and worse, and his results became worse and worse. He was moved from the second row to the third row from the back, and the bullies sat behind him. He had no friends, and no one would help him. Everyone was afraid of being the next victim. One afternoon, I saw Yan Fei buy a pencil sharpener, and he spent the whole afternoon sharpening pencils. When the last class was about to end, the people behind him stepped on the back of his chair. They started to bully Yan Fei again, but this time, Yan Fei acted very calmly. When the bell rang and the teacher left, the group of bullies surrounded him. They pretended to accidentally spill water on Yan Fei's book and bag. They talked and laughed, and as they prepared to leave, I saw Yan Fei take out a sharpened pencil from his pencil case and stab at the bully. The man's face was pierced, and the bullies worked together to press Yan Fei down to the ground. This news reached the school leaders, and the parents of the bullies came to the school to demand an explanation. The bullies put on child masks, and they complained to the adults that if they did not dodge in time, their eyes would have been blinded. It was very serious. Yan Fei's parents were called to the school. The honest father apologized to everyone and lowered his head to the parents of the bullies. He begged the school leaders not to expel Yan Fei. In front of everyone, the honest father slapped Yan Fei. The slap was loud, and the slap shattered the last bit of pride that was left in Yan Fei's face. From that day onward, Yan Fei stopped fighting back. He became silent, like a soulless piece of wood. Sometimes, when the bullying reached its limit, Yan Fei would run away and rush into the toilet alone. No one knew what he was doing. When the bell rang, he would return. No one realized the seriousness of the problem. In fact, no one really cared about Yan Fei. Some time passed like that. One day, after class, Yan Fei was bullied again. He rushed into the toilet and never came out. When the teacher and the students went to take a look, they realized that Yan Fei had fainted in the last cubicle with pale lips. Next to him was a blade that he had taken out from a pencil sharpener. Everyone helped Yan Fei up. One of the students accidentally saw Yan Fei's arm under his long sleeves. He was so shocked that he screamed. At that moment, everyone understood why Yan Fei always wore long sleeves and long pants no matter how hot the weather was. Li Bing had finished talking about Yan Fei's past. After listening, Chen Ge could not calm down for a long time. This child was a very ordinary person. It was even possible that he had brushed shoulders with him on the streets. However, such a child had been forced into a desperate situation in the end. Self-mutilation is a way to divert stress, using physical pain to relieve mental pain. It's a bad way to vent. Chen Ge clenched his fists and stood up from his seat. Li Bing, do you know where the nurse's office is? What do you want? I want to see Yan Fei. Can you help me lead the way? After hearing Yan Fei's story, Chen Ge wanted to see Yan Fei even more. He had a feeling that this Yan Fei was one of the students that he needed to find. Compared to the other children, Yan Fei didn't have a miserable life. He was just like everyone else around us, ordinary, but pushed to the edge of a cliff by the torrent of life. I can't. Li Bing shook his head. Actually, he had been avoiding Chen Ge. Earlier, the conversation had been through notes. Even when he had to speak, he kept his head lowered and his voice very low. He sympathized with Chen Ge and hated the bullies, but compared to that, he was more afraid of being seen communicating with Chen Ge. He did not want to be isolated by the other students. Seeing Li Bing's attitude, Chen Ge only nodded calmly. He did not blame Li Bing. If anything, he understood something. The world behind the door would magnify the desires and other thoughts in one's heart. The negative personality would not be restrained by morality. They would not need to hide it, and they could freely express their negative emotions. The carnivore enjoyed the pleasure of controlling others, toying with the last bit of pride that the poor person had left. The bystanders watched coldly and followed the carnivore. In the end, the poor person was left to struggle helplessly. In the end, they became numb and even used to their identity. Chen Ge scanned the classroom. Everyone was doing their own thing. The fight at the back of the classroom was a farce for them. They only watched coldly, and no one stepped forward to help. When school bullying happens, other than the school, the other students on the plane are also responsible. In an avalanche, no snowflake is innocent. Everyone thinks that as long as bad luck does not befall them, everything will be fine, and the bullies will be tolerated. If there is someone who can stand up when bullying happens, say something fair and just, and give comfort to the bullied, then the situation might change a lot. Chen Ge said that directly. He had no idea how the school's consciousness would appear, but he had a feeling that his actions would be felt by the school's consciousness. In an avalanche, no snowflake is innocent. Silence becomes a habit, and that will be the saddest thing. When Chen Ge spoke, Li Bing's shoulders shook. He seemed to be hesitating, but in the end, he did not step forward. The first door pusher pushed open the door because of school bullying. Then, the door kept searching for the souls of despairing children, and that formed this strange and scary school. The painter and Chang Wenyu are both very powerful, but neither of them became the new door pusher. This means that even though they have been recognized by the school's consciousness, they have not fulfilled all the requirements of the school. A question popped up in Chen Ge's heart. If I was a child in despair, what would I want to see after I pushed open the door? The surroundings were red, and the B** stars were still bullying the students. Obviously, that was not what the door pusher wanted to see. No one liked to reopen the wound and prick it open. Is this bullying a test? To gain the school's approval? I have to stop all the bullying and make sure that it never happens again? In the deepest despair, there was usually the purest hope. After Chen Ge thought about it, he wrote something on the paper and handed it to Li Bing. Li Bing did not take it, but Chen Ge did not mind. He placed the paper on Li Bing's table and walked out of the classroom to look for the nurse's office. After Chen Ge left, Li Bing silently opened the paper. On it was written, "I will completely change this school." Chen Ge had his own plan. Using violence to control violence was the simplest method. To truly gain the school's approval and be accepted by all the despairing students, violence alone was not enough. It might not work, but I'll give it a try. After leaving the classroom, Chen Ge carried his 2 backpacks and walked down the corridor. The students on both sides were hurrying to their classrooms, and he was the only one taking a leisurely stroll. He was not in a hurry. "Student, do you know where the nurse's office is?" The students at this school were not friendly. Chen Ge had to ask a few students before someone was willing to lead the way. "You're the new student from class 4, right? When I passed by the office earlier, I heard the teachers and the dean talking about you. They seem to be preparing to punish you." The person who led the way for Chen Ge was a girl who looked like a middle school student. She had a ponytail and was dressed very plainly. "They're going to punish me? I think they're saying that you ignored the school's rules and attacked others in class." When the girl said that, she snuck a curious glance at Chen Ge. "Are they telling the truth? If I'm telling the truth, will you be afraid?" Chen Ge maintained the smile on his face. The teachers had their own way of dealing with problems. He understood that, but he did not agree with it. "No, I think you've done a good job. Those people have been hanging out with the ruffians outside the school, and they've made the school a mess. They should have been punished a long time ago." The girl appeared to have been bullied before. After talking for a long time, she finally snuck closer to Chen Ge. "I hope you'll be fine this time." "Student, this is the first time we've met, right?" Chen Ge felt like the girl was acting strangely. It was like she was purposely trying to please him. "Is there something else you want to tell me?" Panic flashed across the girl's eyes, but she soon returned to normal. "Actually, I don't have many friends. In my class, everyone makes fun of me. They make fun of me for all kinds of things, so I want to be friends with you. If they bully me again, at least I'll have someone to talk to." The girl was not good at lying. When she said those last words, her eyes would unconsciously look in other directions, and there was a deep hatred hidden in the depths of her eyes. That kind of resentment had nothing to do with Chen Ge. She probably wanted to take revenge on those who had bullied her. "Sorry, I'm used to being alone." Chen Ge knew that the girl didn't really want to be friends with him. She just wanted someone to protect her. "I'm fine." The girl could not hide the disappointment in her eyes, but she still led Chen Ge to the infirmary. "This is it. I have to go back to class." The girl retraced her steps. After taking a few steps, she suddenly turned to look at Chen Ge. "I forgot to tell you. My name is Yin Hong. Let's talk again." The girl forced a smile and trotted away. Even her fake smile when she's unhappy is so sweet. This girl is quite suitable to be the receptionist at a haunted house. Such a pity. Pushing open the door to the infirmary, the curtains fluttered, and a blood-red fog surrounded his body. At first glance, the room was hazy, and he couldn't see anything. "Is anyone here?" The school's infirmary was very big, and it was made up of 4 connected rooms. The outermost room was the consultation room. It took up the smallest space, and there were 2 tables and 2 shelves that stored various items. The school's infirmary feels like a private hospital. Just how many students does this place receive every day? The walls were red, and blood vessels crawled on the walls like worms. A white coat hung in the corner, but there was no doctor. Chen Ge walked to the table, and there was a patient's information spread open on the table. It recorded the student's conditions and the doctor's treatment plan. Flipping through it, Chen Ge found Yan Fei's name on the 3rd last page. However, to Chen Ge's surprise, the doctor only gave Yan Fei some medicine to stop the bleeding and did not give him any psychological counseling. Just looking at the notebook, one could not tell the severity of the problem. Those who did not know the truth would think that Yan Fei had accidentally scratched himself. You can't just look at things on the surface. All the students in the file are normal, but in reality, they might have fallen into some kind of despair. The patient's information was not thick, and every page had the corresponding patient's picture. Sent to the infirmary with injuries, this means that they have been bullied to a very serious stage. Perhaps I can find other students through this file. The School of the Afterlife was a unique 4-star scenario. It combined many different memories, so there were many ghosts and lingering spirits. It was difficult to find a student with the right to become a door pusher, but this patient's information gave Chen Ge a shortcut. Since Yan Fei's name is here, the other students with the right to become a door pusher might be here as well. Walking past the consultation room, Chen Ge entered the second room. There were several beds. Other than the larger space, it was no different from the other rooms. "Excuse me, I'm looking for someone." Chen Ge stood at the door. His pupils twitched, and there was a feeling of anxiety in his heart. There was no answer. There was no one in the infirmary. This is weird. Reaching into his pocket, Chen Ge took out a sharp nail and hid it in his palm. After making sure he could hear the sound of the tape from the recorder, he moved forward. He carefully moved into the third room. There were also beds, but different from the ones in the second room. The beds here were separated by white cloth. Perhaps to protect the patient's privacy, one could not see who was lying in the bed from the outside. This place is quite dangerous. After completing so many trial missions, Chen Ge had developed a sense of danger. He leaned against the wall and moved slowly. He reached out to pull back the curtain closest to him, and a pungent smell of foul odor drifted out. There was a black stain in the middle of the clean sheet. It looked like blood. The smell is heavy. This bed should have been used not long ago. After observing for a while, Chen Ge realized that the pillow on the bed was bulging like something was stuffed inside. He was about to pick up the pillow when he felt a chill on the back of his neck, like someone was reminding him to look behind him. Turning around, Chen Ge saw a doctor in a white coat standing not far behind him. The man was bloated, and his body was almost completely covered by the uniform. He had a cap, mask, and coat, and only his slender neck was exposed. The body is so fat, but the neck is so thin. Has this doctor been wearing multiple layers of clothes? Chen Ge stared at the doctor's collar, and he could see a patch of black and red there. The uniform is pure white, but the clothes inside are so red that they are almost black. Who is this doctor? For more thrilling fanfiction stories like this, check out my channel Fanfic Audiobook. Dive into epic adventures, mysterious realms, and legendary journeys brought to life through immersive storytelling. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing audiobooks.